Hey, how's it going, guys? So, Venezuela, right? The situation's pretty complicated. It's just getting more and more complicated. For example, today Trump has decided that we're going after Venezuela because they took our oil rigs or something. So that's a new one. I guess I'd just like to walk through the timeline of our interactions with Venezuela, especially in this term. Maybe make some sense of it. So, I think that the first thing to understand is that Trump is not the kind of guy who's sympathetic to like liberal values or like nuanced stuff like the self-determination of populations and blah 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 blah, right? I That's not something he cares about in my opinion. That being said though, I do remember reading The Great Divider by Peter Baker, and I learned that in the first like 2 months, Trump was like eyeballing Venezuela and he wanted to like attack them or something, right? So I mean, Venezuela's not a new thing for Trump. It's been on his radar. And the real question is, why did he decide to start doing this in like September 2025? And I'll answer that at the end of this video, but I think it might be worth it to take a little trip on the different explanations that the Trump admin actually has for being hostile towards Venezuela. Um, so the first thing that we did to Venezuela, from my memory, is that we started striking those speedboats in the Caribbean. The justification, it was narco terrorism. That's a new word I haven't heard. What the hell is a narco terrorist? So, okay, so obviously the word narco means drugs and terrorist means terrorist. So, I don't know. Is the claim that these drug dealers are they are they coming to America and addicting people on drugs for political purposes? Is that what our White House thinks? Because I don't know, that's kind of silly to me. Um, but I don't know. Let's take that at face value for a second and really think about this. I know Pete Hegseth for sure says this, that 25,000 Americans are saved for every speedboat that we blow up, and it's like, okay, so yeah, I mean, I understand that if a boat is carrying like a whole bunch of like fentanyl, then in theory it could kill that many Americans. But okay, so first of all, it's Venezuela. From my understanding, they do cocaine and not fentanyl. So that doesn't make sense on the surface, right? But let's just pretend that it is fentanyl, even though it's probably not. Um, what are these guys doing? Are they putting like fentanyl pills on drones and then they just like sniper shoot them into people's noses? And that's how they kill people, 25,000 Americans? I'll be real. I don't think they could even get 25,000 Americans if they were doing like sniper fentanyl pills in the noses. I don't think that's ridiculous. Anyway, that aside, if we did want to take care of fentanyl, or if we did even want to take care of like Venezuelan cocaine, there's ways to do this that aren't this. And so you really just have to take a step back and think there's two possibilities here. Either the White House is just like really dumb and they're like striking cocaine dealers from Venezuela instead of the guys actually bringing fentanyl over across the Mexican border, or they're lying to us. And I'll be real, I think it's probably the latter. The general incoherence of the Trump administration's reasoning for this whole drug thing, it doesn't make sense on its own merits, and so I think that's a fair reason for me to discount it as the real reason. It really brings me back. I mean, I shouldn't say that because I'm not that old, but I love to study the Bush administration and the war on terror. And something that really strikes me about, especially George Bush's memoir, is that he says that part of the reason that he used the weapons of mass destruction angle for the justification of the war is that it was a very clear cut, easy thing to sell the American people. It didn't have all that inconvenient nuance to it. That's international relations and the spread of Western liberalism, blah blah blah, all that. He wanted to make it nice and simple. And what am I seeing here in Venezuela? I'm seeing a narrative that doesn't make a lot of sense, but behind that, I'm seeing a couple of motivations that might explain this. I think that one of our prime culprits is probably Marco Rubio. I mean, remember I said at the beginning of this video that Trump doesn't really care about, liberalism and all that good stuff, democracy. But you know who really cares about it? A Cuban American immigrant named Marco Rubio. He cares a whole lot about it. And I think that, I'll get to it why I think Trump actually wants the Venezuela thing happening right now. But Marco Rubio is someone who is all too keen to go along with that. And I mean, if Marco Rubio can get the opportunity to, do something good in Venezuela, he's going to take it. Even if it means I don't know, dragging Grandpa Trump along for the ride, right? So here's the thing, and I say this as an unapologetic neocon. I'm sorry, right? But that oil tanker that we seized a few days ago, I don't have an issue with that thing getting seized. I mean, that thing, from my understanding, it was going to like Iran and like Russia and stuff. Like, good, get that thing out of the ocean. We don't need that, Um, and I mean, same idea towards Venezuela in general. Just this year, 2025, they signed a thing where they're going to agree to like align all of their positions in like OPEC and stuff like that. And it's like, you know what, Venezuela, you're like, we can like poke you. You're like right here, bro. What are you doing, man? So, I mean, I'm with Marco Rubio. Maduro's being a big jerk when it comes to like oil stuff. I'm with him, right? And that doesn't mean I want to do like a regime change, and it doesn't necessarily mean that Marco Rubio wants to do a regime change, but he definitely wants to disrupt this whole Maduro Russia BFF situation. And I mean, that being said, let me just mention the thing that Trump's mad about right now is, I had to look this up because I didn't know about it. Venezuela nationalized its oil like 10 years ago or something, and I mean, you can't really blame them for wanting to nationalize their oil, but they did back out of some like contracts with American companies, and that's a reason to be ass mad as an American. I get that. Do I believe that Trump knew anything about this prior to like a month ago? I don't think so. I mean, if I had to guess, it's probably just like Trump realizing like, ooh, yeah, they did do that X number of years ago. I am now mad about that all of a sudden. So, what is the big bad reason that Trump is all of a sudden receptive to Marco Rubio and Stephen Miller poking him on the shoulder? Why does he care about Venezuela so much? He being Trump. Well, let me tell you. So it was in August 2025 that we first heard that there was a discharge petition for the Epstein files, and it was gonna come for a vote in September of 2025. And so a lot of us, I shouldn't say a lot of us, I was wondering, okay, so September, is something big gonna happen in September to kind of shield our eyes from the Epstein file release? And you know what ended up happening in September? Those boat strikes started happening in September, and it might be a little bit asynchronous now because the government shutdown pushed the files out a little bit, so it might not seem as sus as it really is. Keep in mind that we started these strikes before we knew that the government was going to be shut down. So yeah, is it possible that the Trump administration is currently going after Venezuela in order to distract us from the Epstein files? I mean, the correlation is there, and I think that's enough for us to at least take it seriously. You know, my eyes would be peeled. I hope that now your eyes would be peeled too. And I guess we'll just have to see what happens. If you like this content, please like, subscribe, and comment. Ring that bell and all that so that more people can see these videos, and I will keep making them. Thank you.